I will maybe give the floor to Cathrin, who can talk to us about what is the reaction from the construction sector. Hello, Cathrin.
Yes, thank you, Maria. Thank you very much, Michele, for the presentation. It's indeed a very interesting project. Because obviously we see more the importance of prefabrication. We see more attend towards industrialization. I mean, you and Maria, you already highlighted the advantages of cost savings and so on. So having said this, we still see quite some issues with prefabrication at the European level, just to highlight some, and I think it would be also good to get some reaction from you for that. Well, as you and pretty much everyone in this call, I'm sure, is aware, the construction sector is mainly made up by small and medium construction enterprises. Indeed, 94.1% of them are micro enterprises, so very, very small. And what I'd be interested in is like whether you already managed during this project to cooperate also with SMEs, because you talked about your software, and we see a big problem in the construction sector is the access to the software, the costs related to this, on how, because you talked about the training, but do you also have like simplified accesses to the software, because architects might need the whole software, but while contractors, for example, might just need some specific access to this software. Another point you were highlighting is obviously, and maybe we can also see in your examples, is that a building is usually a certain size for these projects, because well, of course, you have the example from the 80s where the houses were even bigger, and I think you already managed with the software in this project to already reduce the size that a house needs to have to make this prefabrication valuable. But do you also see a tendency that this might also be at one point, yeah, really adaptable to really small houses? And did you also already engage with problems related to for example, cultural heritage with regard to these prefabrication issues? Because I know that these are a lot of things that we are currently discussing, and there's obviously, this is a bigger problem in some countries than in others, because some countries just have more cultural heritage also as private housing. So I think this would be very interesting to know a bit more about. What I really liked is, as you said, that you're providing specialized training also for your contractors, for all people engaged in the process, because I think this is really important, and this is something that we are all stressing constantly, that we need more cooperation within the sector to also be able that we can all adapt to these new innovations and actually embrace them, because I mean there's an advantage to everyone. The time is short, it will be probably less of a hassle. Especially if you use BIM and you have a digital twin, you can already get rid of a lot of the problems that usually happen during the construction process, that might come up during the construction process, and everyone knows from the beginning how the building should look in the end. So we see a lot of great advantages with this technology. But as I said before, we also still see some issues. Maybe one more, if I can just stress that at the end, that I'd be interested in. We're discussing more the connection between energy efficiency and circular economy, and what we see also, if people do not consider prefabrication well enough, that sometimes insulation material and facades are glued together in a way that it's really difficult to untangle them at the point that the building might be renovated at a later stage again, or even disassembled at one point. Whether you're also looking at this point, really the combination of doing prefabrication, but still ensuring that it's also possible to properly disassemble the building at a later stage. Thank you.
Yes, very good point. Let's start for the part related to the work done for us into the software part. What we have created, we have configured an IFC-based software to work with our solution. Our solution is not big prefabrication, as you say, because of the problem related to the small producer, but also related to the option of fitting this big final product inside to stick on the facade. What we have done is a very small puzzle in the way that is standardized in size, because we have worked in analyzing all the spectrum of the European building and retrofitting building from one from the 16 years, that is the most important in Europe. So what we've done is creating a solution that could go for the vast majority of the building we have in our scenario, European scenario. We have geolocalized them. We're working into the climate as well. I didn't say that this facade, this module, we have passed a very strict standards for going to the market, and we have succeeded them all: fire resistance, humidity, wind, impact, everything. So even if we are talking about tier L7 solution, I would say without mistaking that we are at least at tier L8. We have just to create all the market framework to be able to, put them in the market. The company is producing this. This is a very large company that works already from a lot of here in this for very building. So we have a lot of experience behind this solution. This is the first aspect. So the software part we have created for supporting our product. We have embraced other products. These software are free to use. And because for us the software is a supportive tools for afterward going through in the really in the process. From what is circular economy, very important in the eco design. As you see here, you have the framework, the metal framework, and you have on the market the product that you can install, not glue. You can install, screw in and on the framework. So it means that the day of tomorrow you can dismantle them very easily. You can, if there is something broken, you can substitute without taking off or taking apart the entire module. So it has been thought for this because we have also environmental impact in the project to satisfy. So this aspect has been also considered. If you see here, you have the insulation part in the third picture from the left. This is insulation part that lay between the panel and the facade could be, put in and put out. There is no gluing there. So we are also happy about that because for us, it's good for the environment point of view, but also it's good for the maintenance point of view, because we have to decrease cost there as well. And this is an example. The day of tomorrow, you can disinstall everything into the joint because you are using normal screw or normal, way of joining an anchor. So, and the third point was I didn't remember. Now it was circular economy. It was the tools, and I guess also, yeah, I touched it. It is that we work with standard measures, so standard small puzzle that you could put together in the way you want, and you can install it, disinstall, and yeah, it is not big a big issue. Whichever small company in the future could have the royalty to manufacture that, because it's easier. It's very easy. If you see the size, I don't have the slide for the size. It's 2 meter for 1 meter, so it is easy to do that. And yes, the third point was the training. For us, yeah, installing this is the most important part. And in transport, we are using QR code for identifying each element. And this QR, the contractor will have this tablet or mobile, and through the QR code, you have all the information, the pop-up, the video, how to do that in each stage of the installation. So in this way, it is very easy for everybody to understand. We are also proposing the option of the augmented reality. It is not in our proposal, but I will try to push something in that line, and because I've seen a very brilliant solution using augmented reality in real spot, and looking, the building as it will be in the real time. So it's crazy for me, that technology. but yes, this is what we can afford later on. But this is what we have. I don't know if I satisfied your comment or somehow.
Yes, thank you very much, Michele. Just maybe one more point that I raised is whether you also dealt with problems related to using prefabricated facades, etc., on heritage buildings, cultural heritage.
Yes, right. Heritage building is a very problematic issue because, as you know, we have rules there, very tight rules. Facade could be changed, so you have to respect the outside. So in this case, RenoZEB are not going to provide any solution because it's a modern solution. What we can do there, even for example, if we talk about I have experience in Italy and in Spain, we cannot even touch the windows. So we're talking about you would like to change or to switch to a double glaze for a U value of 6, for example, you can't do that. So you are talking about U value of 2 or 3, so it's crazy. It's very much related to the regulation we have in each city. I will say city, and so we are not touching that point because it's a sensitive one. I know that there are other projects we were talking about. They are trying to provide a solution internally. So from the other side of the facade, since you cannot touch, but yes, you can provide a solution there. But from my point of view, you are going to decrease the space, the cubic meter in size. So it depends from the solution you are providing. You have to also to imagine that you have balcons there, terrace. So this aspect has to be also dealt in a sensitive way because you cannot replace. There are techniques to cut off the balcon, the terrace and the balcon, and to substitute with another one, but you cannot change the facade. So different problem there. So that's not our core. So
by Michele, if you don't mind, we'll move on to Veronika. And so what's the perspective of the architecture of this? And thank you very much, Cathrin, for your intervention, and thank you, Michele, for your answers.
Thank
Good
you to you
morning,
guys.
Veronika.
Good morning. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, so we are the Architects Council of Europe, and we are a partner in RenoZEB. So of course, our point of view is that we are very supportive of the RenoZEB solution. I think when we speak about industrialization of a renovation process, of course, I think for me, the time factor is actually the most important one because it's the less disruptive for the occupant. And I think speaking to you, the property owners, I think this is a major point here. But I think you should also look at the construction workers, the construction industry as a whole. So we can see that we have, first of all, we have a lack of construction workers in Europe. I think everybody who tries to do a renovation and cannot get hold of anybody to do it will understand what I'm talking about. It's a bit crazy. I myself bought a house in December, and now it's May, and I just had the first visit of the architect. So there's not enough people to do renovation. So industrialization really helps here to quicken and to also produce more renovation with less people, basically. And then, of course, having an industrialized process is also really good for health and safety on construction site because there's a shorter time that you spend on construction site. So, and it's a sort of a repetitive process. So you have less risk for the construction worker to have injuries and accidents. And then, of course, there's this whole discussion of nearly zero energy buildings, and now we're speaking of positive energy buildings. So who on earth is training the construction industry and also the architects and engineers on how to perform this? So coming with an industrialized process, this is quite helpful to have a better performance and a better quality of the build result. For us as architects, when we look at industrialization, or when I speak to our members about it, then they are first a little bit shocked, and they're like, yeah, but it's not beautiful. I mean, I don't want to say that we architects are only looking at beauty. We are looking at performance and quality and so on. But it has to reflect the property owner. It has to reflect the design ideas. It has to reflect the neighborhood. It has to bring so many things. So they have a fear of that they do not have so much architectural freedom to bring all of this. But in RenoZEB, the partner who is producing the facades is Focchi in Italy, and they are very experienced with working with international architects. So that was already a relief. And then to see the RenoZEB facade has different modules or puzzles, as Michele called it, with different materials, different active parts, but also different passive parts in different shapes, colors, and so on. And we went and we visited the factory, I think last year. It's already so long ago, but there were even more choices when we were there. So they gave us all sorts of materials. So I think it actually offers a lot of architectural and design freedom to reflect all the different ideas that the owner might have. Then of course the cost reduction, we don't have to speak about that. That's so clear, a major argument for industrialization. And for us, we offered a training for architects. It unfortunately couldn't take place so far. It was planned in March, and then we had to cancel it. So I asked all our member organizations if they want to send any CPD trainers, and basically they replied within a week. It was fully booked. Basically, we have 25 places in our meeting room, and they were booked out, and really from I think 19 different European countries they wanted to come, and they were all looking forward to it. So and then we had to postpone it, and now we hope to do it at the beginning of October, but we're not sure how the situation will be. So fingers crossed. But there is on the website a training section. I think this might be interesting for Cathrin. And we also have a very nice YouTube video on how to install the facade. It was taken at the Cubic in Bilbao. So that's like a test facility. So it's like a cube that one of the partners has, and so you can test different projects, different facades, and they made a very nice video on how to install it. So there's a lot of training going on. So when I talked to my architect, just to bring a personal example at the end, so she came by, and I have a Maison des Maîtres, so a typical Brussels townhouse from 1928. So it has a very nice sort of historical front facade. I'm not sure if it's protected, but I would like to do the back facade. So I told her about the RenoZEB project and the Focchi facade. But then her first reaction was, it's too small. Like, although this is a huge house, but it's a single family house. And she said, with all the windows and everything, maybe there is not enough space of the rest of the facade to make it count to transport a facade from all the way from Italy. And then thinking of like how to transport it. So while I'm completely for RenoZEB and I love it, I think we have to really think about the size of the house. Like I think the demonstration buildings we have in RenoZEB are quite good because they're these multi-family houses, and I think this is a perfect house to RenoZEB to retrofit. But yeah, but I'm not sure if it's possible for a normal townhouse. Maybe that's a question for Michele. And then to think about the transport as well. I mean, how are we doing that with the demonstration building in Estonia, and then we're transporting everything from Italy to Estonia, and if we're missing one part or if one element breaks, what are we doing? We're transporting another. Like, yeah, I think that's a question I have. And that was it. Thank you.
We can leave all the questions for the end and have a question session in the end. If you don't mind, Emmanuelle, do you mind taking the floor and leaving questions for the end?
Yes, no, thank you. I'm actually going to summarize a bit. The point of this webinar today was with the example of what we are doing with RenoZEB to discuss about industrialization, and I think we got very good arguments and important points from the construction sector, so especially SMEs, and from the architects who are very similar to our concern. And the goal for us is also to collect information on how we can address this issue within the renovation wave. As Maria mentioned in the beginning, industrialization is been mentioned in the Green Deal, is mentioned again as a solution in the renovation wave. There was less than 2 years ago a big climate agreement in Netherlands, and industrialization has been singled out as one of the key aspects to reduce cost and increase effectiveness of renovation of the building stock. So that's why we wanted to have this discussion today. Obviously, we already had a couple of hints or discussion with our members, but we wanted to continue this discussion with you and together with our members. So maybe I'm just going to summarize the points here we have put together from a member's point of view, and very much in line. They are very much in line with what you have been mentioning as well, the three of you. So it's a more like a summary as well. And I will be also very keen on having our members' view on what I have now on paper. So industrialization, we see there is a potential, has been mentioned by several, all the intervention. Basically, the main potential could be a certain type of cost reduction, of course, partly because we minimize on-site construction work. So this means less time on site should be cheaper as well. Very important point as well is to limit disruption. This is particularly important in multi-apartment buildings when you cannot move the occupants when you do the renovation process. So this is probably one of the key aspects of the industrialization for us. And it's a way as well to standardize construction work to a certain extent. So again, reduce cost and have more standardized solutions. So these are the main, I think, potential we see in industrialization process. But of course, we see we have some concerns, and some of you mentioned them. The main one is the cost reduction. We have very big, for example, within the RenoZEB project, we have big objective. To which extent we are really going to reach this objective in terms of cost reduction of a renovation process? This is a question. This was very important, for example, in the discussion on the Dutch climate agreement, because there was some kind of guarantee of cost reduction, and no one can guarantee this cost reduction. So this one was on one of the issues that has been widely addressed by our Dutch colleagues. So the other aspect is, of course, to factor in heterogeneity. We have very heterogeneous building stock in Europe. We all know that. We have large building, we have individual houses. Industrialization process is an issue in individualist houses. This is also the case of this heritage building. You've been also mentioning that. There are countries when you have, let's say, a large block of similar building. Thinking about Netherlands, of course, but of course, terraced house in Victorian terrace house, for example, in the UK. But what's happened when you have very, very different type of buildings? The question comes very often as well from our members is the customization. To which extent you can customize your building compared to even your neighbor's one, or when you use this industrialization process. And the last very important element we also have is the question of reparability. You are talking about a plug-and-play solution. So what happens if one part of the plug-and-play solution is defectuous? And the question is, do you need to replace everything? This is something that often comes in discussion. And do you find the skilled workforce to repair? First, install, of course, this type of solution, but also repair them. And this is a very important question from our sector. So that's, in a nutshell, the type of comments we get when it comes to industrialization process. So this is what we want to discuss with you as well today, get your point of view on that. And as both Cathrin and Veronika mentioned, we took note of some very important points which we think need to be addressed as well when we talk about industrialization. And just to conclude, why we joined RenoZEB in the first place was exactly for us to understand how this industrialization mechanism or this plug and play solution can be implemented on our building stock, and it's a way for us also to learn more about this new innovative solution that are developed in projects like this, to see how this can be put on the market and be massified massified basically. So that's basically just a few outline of what a position is. That's open for discussion today, so we have a bit of time. I hope we can maybe extend another 5 or 10 minutes if you don't mind, so that we have a time to discuss, if Maria agrees. And that's it for me.
Of course, thank you, Emmanuelle. I think we can open the discussion session, and I'll be happy to hear all the feedback from our members, and also maybe now if you want, I don't know if you want to address, Michele, if you want to address Veronika's concerns.
Yes, I've just took notes of some of your comments. So from the repairing point of view, well, at least I can bring the RenoZEB solution here. Yes, it's repairable because what we did is looking in the market solution that we already have in the market. So from what is guarantee, if something is broken, the guarantee as the warranty will be the same of the component of the facade. So it is one of the smart solution, because in this way, if something happens, is the provider, manufacturer that has to come. Of course, it's repairable because it's a plug and play. Everything could be taken out and taken in. So I think that this is easy to reply. The issue from is it for all the building the solution? Well, of course we have tried to, after analyzing the building portfolio, we have decided that we go for the vast majority. When you use vast majority, is an noun, I know, but it is not 100%. We know that there are peculiarity in the building, but also we know that the facade the day of tomorrow could be also changed in shape. But still, in this project, at one point we need to start, and the point is start from one side and to demonstrate. What is going to happen the day of tomorrow after the project ends is up to us, and it is also up to the business model we are in. It is a part of the exploitation part we are analyzing so far. It depends from the consortium and so on. But I mean, the message today is that this is a project in which we are validating something at scale, at TL7 scale. The day of tomorrow, for sure, the size could be customized because the framework is easy to do, I would say. The question from Veronika, who is going to manufacture Foki for all the world? This is also, again, something that is has to be discussed in the exploitation part, because maybe yes, maybe no. If they are going to give the royalties or the opportunity for different representative in different countries to do that, is something that has to be discussed. It is not a problem because in the globalization which we are, it is something that is already mature in the sense of the process, so something that could be discussed. So it's not a problem. Is customizable? Yes. In the e-catalog we have 52 option. Of course, the day of tomorrow, this option could be improved. Just going and scanning the market, what you want, and talk with the provider to see how to join everything together. Our framework facade is easy to be customized. I mean, you can stick upon a bit different kind of finishing, because it's a matter of anchors and a matter of linkage you are using. So for me, it is something that could be done. The energy efficiency guarantee, that is a manual comment, that is very important aspect. Yes, this is the typical, this is something that goes into the contractual part. We are not discussing, we are not processing the contractual part, but yeah, it is very important. I know that in other sector we have the same. We cannot guarantee, but not because we can't guarantee because we don't know what is going to happen during the process of retrofitting, not because we don't know if our products are good or not. For example, if you how do they perform? We know that, but in my point of view, maybe it is something that what it is like HESCOS does. What they do is just to be sure they in the contract, in the agreement, they just go for one percentage and stay comfortable with that, knowing that according to the analysis and the simulation, they can go even better, you know. So it is something that has to be played in the contracts. So I will say that it is another discussion, even if it's very important. And this is a sensitive part as well. Very important to say, this project, I'm very confident that we are going to provide a very good solution, real solution, because we know a lot of projects over there. So real solution that could be exploited. We are discussing the exploitation right now with this big company. They are very committed to do that in terms of hardware, but in terms of software. I forget to mention that in the modular facade we have also IoT systems, sensors, mechanisms that help controlling system for energy efficiency. We have also a tool for controlling the behavior, the customer behavior inside the building. That learn about the behavior and talk with facade to open and close the windows and stuff like that. So we have a lot of stuff there. And
Michele, I need to interrupt.
Yeah, sorry.
Because we are running out of time. I'm terribly sorry. Thank you very much. But
okay.
I saw that Agustin had a question before, so I would like to give him the chance to ask his question. Thank you.
Yes, good morning to everybody. I am Agustin Pujol. As a member of UIPI, I represent the Spanish Confederation of Urban Property Chambers. I am an architect, and then in my opinion and based in my experience of this sector, it's very difficult answering the question that heads the title of the day with a simple yes or no. Industrialization apply to the construction of new buildings, new plant or new construction? Emphatically yes. Apply to renovation, I have serious doubts. The industrialization process requires a type of works of a certain size, as Cathrin said before, a certain size of works. And in my opinion, the industrialization process is a very impersonal system. I mean by this, that is normally applied in works in which is a noun who will occupy them. It's a question of works of new plan of deep renovations, but in renovations, in a simple renovation, in most cases, is applied in all building, over 30 years old, normally occupied by the owners or by tenants. I consider that in these cases, it's very difficult to speak of the industrialization process. These works are more handmade, more personalized. In rehabilitation, the industrialization is limited to some materials, such as precast gypsum boards for building partitions, or solar panels for energy supplies, and little else. According to some experts, in Spain, the large Spanish construction companies have powerful research and development, but these innovations are more related to civil works. The building construction is conceived in a more traditional way. I'd like to say that in Spain, since 2014, home construction has followed an upward trend. But in this new cycle, construction sector faced the challenge of changes in the production system, the use of new materials and new forms of works. However, the sector is still conservative and is resisting changes. The builders continue to be affected by the workforce. In conclusion, industrialization process make more efficient buildings if we refer to large real estate complexes in interventions financed by the administration or in non-residential public buildings. In this case, of course, the industrialization is efficient, is more efficient than others. But as I said, in the renovation, I am afraid that the industrialization will be very difficult to increase or to improve. Thank you.
Very much. Maybe before giving back the floor to Michele that maybe has something to answer, I would like to ask if, for example, Rika, do you have anything, do you want to add another question to Michele? Hello.
Thank you. Well, I find the idea of industrial renovation very promising. Sorry, I should present myself. My name is Rika Silverfur. I'm from the Swedish Property Federation. We just recently joined UIPI. We're happy about that. Well, I would like to add some bullet points to Emmanuelle's list of advantages and fears of the industrialized process. The one immediate advantage is that we can see that if production is carried out under a controlled environment, it reduces the risk of errors. So the end result is often better because the production is carried out in a controlled. Then you have to take it out to site, of course, and then mount it. But you don't have any leakage of heat transfers. It's best if you produce the facade element at a controlled environment. Which brings us to a very relevant question. We have several experiences of trying to industrialize construction in Sweden. One of the benefits, if you like, is that it's not actually regarded as a construction project. It's an industrial project which have a different set of work, labor regulations, and they work in Sweden. They work on I don't know. I think it's the more you work, the more you get paid. So it's a different regulation. So you actually get. It's better to use a different labor regulations doing an industrial. So it actually brings a question: will the renovation that is conducted in an industrial way be considered a construction project or an industrial project, or is it are you actually delivering a product, a complete facade element that you just sort of mount or replace rather than construct? So we need to dig into that, but I'm not sure that's an EU question, that's national regulation. The one thing that also I'm sort of looking at the first pictures that Michele showed is that it's not only the facade. You had a list of actions, ventilation, building automation controls that control indoor environment and such, which is sort of all contribute to the positive end result. And you have to have a holistic approach. You have to factor in all those factors in creating the end result, which is a good energy performance and a good indoor environment, of course. So these are my takeouts from this discussion, which is very. I thank you to all presentations.
Thank you very much. If someone wants to add something, now is the time, and then I think I'll give the floor to Michele, and then we will wrap up this session.
Yeah, just to want to say hello to everyone.
Hello.
I'm Stratos Paradias, the president of the UIPI. Emmanuelle has very well expressed the hopes as well as the concerns of our members around the point of our discussion. But we cannot disregard the concerns of Agustin Puyol, who's an expert in the field. We all know that the old constructions are never the same. They're not big enough for industrialization, which is in any case a very useful idea. But there is a question of how can it be useful for smaller constructions and for constructions that differ from each other. This is for the future to see. That's the tricky point of it. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. I'll give you the floor. Thank you very much.
Yeah, okay, thank you very much for your comment and intervention. I see there is a lot of experience. Yeah, I can see that, and I can share also with the comment coming from Agustin and from Stratos. Yes, if I have to summarize a bit what has been told by Agustin, it is the difficulties to apply industrialization in the retrofitting project. Yeah, I know it depends also where the building is. We are talking about district approach as well. It is difficult to bring there, I know, but it is not impossible because I like very much the intervention from Ricard that is nowadays in the perspective of the construction 4.0, we jump to call a construction project instead of construction project is an industrial project. Actually, I came from the industrial sector before landing in Solintel in this project, so I know very much the industrial project inside a big company, large company. And actually, based on my experience, maybe I'm too much enthusiastic in my profile, but I think that is feasible. It is not impossible. I know it is hard. I know that sometimes it's not very much applicable. I understand, but it doesn't mean that it's impossible. Nowadays, with the technology we have, as mainly the software that help you take a decision before spend any euro, you can have this. There are different software, there are different opportunity, and there are different stakeholders and brain that could support you. Very good person working in this sector over there that they can support. And actually, from my point of view, thinking about also the experience from RenoZEB. For example, we're talking about a smaller construction. Is a comment from Stratos. Let's see, because we have a small building in our pilot that is the one in Durango. Let's see what happens. I think, according to our estimation, that everything is going to be okay. Yesterday, I received an email from them saying that all the procurement process is set finally after a long run and long process. Let's see what happens. We are going to go for procurement to commit the job, and for me, we are going to succeed it because we're already the outfit. Of course, from theory to the practice, we have issue there. Of course, we are going to have problem installing whatever, but it is our first experience. It's an innovative project, and maybe our experience could open the doors for future industrial project in deep retrofitting also for small construction. It doesn't mean again that 100% of the building could be covered. Okay, it means that in each project we need brains behind, people that architects that with their creativity to know, to understand, and to plan how to fit a possible solution like the RenoZEB one in your real experience, because you have other experience as well, other projects. But yes, of course, it is like a lay of life. I mean, we have people there that are good in working, and I think that we are in the process. We are in the process to jump from the construction process to industrialization process using the Ricard motto.
Thank you very much. I think this was a great session that I don't know, at least I talked to myself, but that it's clear now what are the advantages and the possible risks and the potential of industrialization, also what each sector has as its main concern. So I thank you very much. I think we have here material to help us define better our position regarding this this matter. Emmanuelle wants to say something.
Yes, first I would like to thank you all, and thank you, Michele, as well. I think we will summarize this session as well for you. I think it's also useful to have these points taken on board in the project. And just want to remind everyone else that tomorrow, I mean, at least our members, that tomorrow we have another internal discussion on a topic that's also very much linked to renovation. That's called, or could also be helpful for this project, but for all our projects, is about the split incentive and rental law. So many of you are experts here on rental law, so I hope you will be able to join us tomorrow. I know it's quite a tight schedule lately, but we have lots of issues we want to address as well in the renovation wave and in the discussion in general on how to improve renovation and what might be some of the barriers. So yeah, hope you can be there tomorrow, and thank you everyone for being here today.
Thank you very much, guys. It was a pleasure for me.
Bye bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye bye.
Bye. Have a nice day.